You won't believe these heartwarming stories of the 10 humblest lottery winners ever. From celebrating the win with a cup of tea to donating to charitable organizations, these people proved that living a simple life is possible even with a large prize. Number 10. Anonymous South Carolina winner. $150,000. This is one of the most heartwarming stories you'll ever hear. A South Carolina native was fortunate enough to win 150 grand in the Powerball. And instead of thinking all about themselves, they did something selfless. The Powerball winner donated all of their cash to charity. Whoa, that's the noblest deed ever. They could have kept some of the money and shared the rest with charities, but no, they thought others' needs were greater than theirs. The store in Greenville, from where the winner bought the ticket, received $1,500 from the lottery for selling the ticket, so they benefited too. The charity that the winner gave every cent to was never named, but you can bet this generous act was a huge deal for the organization selected. The only way that the actual winner benefited from their win is that they never had to pay tax on it, because the entire sum became a charitable donation. The South Carolina Residents Act was touching, and just like them, the next winner on our list shared his winnings with those in need. Number 9. Thai Monk. $537,000. A 47-year-old Buddhist monk from Thailand did something he was against. He saw lottery ticket vendors struggling to make money due to the pandemic, so he decided to help him by purchasing 3 tickets. This happened just 3 days before the lottery draw, and you won't believe what happened after that. The monk surprisingly won 18 million baht, which is almost 537 grand. He was against gambling, yet he got lucky on his first try. Sometimes life really works in the most unexpected way. But he didn't keep a single dollar from the lottery money as it was against his religious beliefs. According to him, it belonged to the angels, so he shared it with the needy and his community. He was sure the spirits were grateful for his temple service and had blessed him. So the monk contributed the amount to foundations, schools, and the temple. He even handed out money to the local people. As a result of that, there was always a huge gathering outside the temple. And the authorities had to put a stop to it as it was a health risk for everyone. In just 7 days, the monk had shared $44,800 with the community. That was one of the most generous acts we've ever seen. That's a seriously unlikely story, but have you ever heard of a winner who did their chores before claiming their jackpot? Well, you're in for a surprise. Number 8. Queensland's couple. $781,099. Next up is the story of a down-to-earth couple from Queensland who won a jackpot worth 1 million Australian dollars, which is over 781 grand. They were thrilled with their win and wished to stay anonymous to avoid unnecessary attention. The couple got their jackpot-winning 18-game quick pick ticket at Kalangor Fair News, and they became one of 4 jackpot winners across Australia. The store's owner, Rajinder Kaur, was over the moon about it. She was excited to have sold that golden ticket. This was a big deal for them, too, as it was the first time in a few years they sold a Division 1 winning entry. And speaking of our winners, they were not in a hurry to claim their prize. Huh? What's that all about? As odd as it may sound, the couple completed their household tasks before collecting their lottery winnings. If we were in their place, we would rush for the grand prize. But these simple people did their laundry and made their beds. Once their to-do list was complete, they headed off to get the Gold Lotto jackpot prize. It was a normal day for the retired couple. The wife was checking their ticket when she noticed it had all 6 numbers. She paused for a moment and called her husband to confirm the numbers. They checked it online, and that was a moment of joy for them. The most they had ever won was $80, and this was a huge step up. They were millionaires. All their lives they worked hard, and now was their time to have some fun. But the couple didn't have any plans to overspend the money. First things first, they shared some of their jackpot with their children. And after, they wanted to travel the world. Apart from that, they stuck close to their old values and lifestyle. The day they won, the wife made some toasted sandwiches for dinner and did some washing, and the husband made the bed as usual. Even the jackpot didn't change a single thing about them. According to them, a sudden win doesn't mean that you shift your entire lifestyle. This couple's discipline and laid-back routine are admirable. Coming up next is the story of a winner who made the most sensible choices with his cash. Number 7. Laszlo Andraszek, $2.8 million. Laszlo Andraszek had spent 7 years living in a homeless center with his family in Győr, Hungary. But in September 2013, something incredible happened. He won a whopping 636 million Hungarian forint, which is about $2.8 million in a local Hungarian lottery draw. When Laszlo found out about his big win, he was in tears. His bad days were over, and now he had enough money to pay off his debts. Before this extraordinary win, life was a constant struggle for him. Laszlo was stuck in a loop. He was always trying to fix one problem by creating another. When he hit the jackpot, he was a year behind on his rent, and he had defaulted on several bank loans. But soon after winning, Laszlo had some thoughtful plans. Laszlo made it clear that despite his newfound riches, he would remain unchanged. That's the perspective we all need to have about sudden blessings. And he didn't dive into the whole mansion and sports car thing like typical lottery winners. The family was careful in selecting a place to live. They started by renting a house in Győr's fancy neighborhood, but they decided it didn't suit them, so they moved to a modest suburban area. But what really sets them apart is their philanthropy. We loved how he made a generous donation to the homeless hostel where he had once lived. What a way to give back to the community! Plus, Laszlo made an effort to raise awareness for the homeless people. He decided to start a charitable foundation to help people. He stayed grounded and never forgot about his past. He knew very well what it was like living without the basic necessities in life. So he used this remarkable turnaround to change the conditions of those who could use a little help. Laszlo's wife, Aniko, shared that their foundation would focus on helping people who had lost their human dignity. They named their foundation Al Melim, which means "Stand by me." Like Laszlo and his wife, the next winner on our list made a contribution in the most unexpected way. Number 6. Winner from New York, $3 million. One day, a New York pastor shared with the world that he had received an anonymous donation from a lottery winner. They were kind enough to share their entire $3 million winnings to the church on Long Island. The Reverend mentioned that the donor believed this was a part of God's plan. After the news got out, a New York State lottery official revealed that the church would receive a bit over $100,000 in each annuity payment over 20 years. And this amount might even go up if any withheld taxes get refunded due to the church's nonprofit status. The pastor shared an incident which showed the extraordinary timing of it all. Just 3 weeks before hearing about the church's unexpected blessing, he had delivered a sermon. He humorously mentioned that the church was running out of space, and that the only way to expand the space was if God dropped a couple million on them. Otherwise, they might need to rent another place. Of course, he never expected that would actually happen. He had no idea that a few weeks later, he'd get the millions he needed. The surprise call to the pastor came from a person who had been to his sermon. He thought it would be bad news, as pastors usually get calls like this when something is wrong. But this time, it was different. The person shared that they would like to give $3 million to the church. The pastor kept asking if they were sure, but they insisted. And what about the winner? Did they need the money or not? Well, that remained a mystery. But what did the church do with the money? They followed the donor's lead. In the first year, they decided to contribute some of the money to the organization Love 146. They help in stopping human trafficking, especially among kids in Southeast Asia. As for the rest of the money, they agreed to share it among nonprofits all over the country and even around the world. The winner's one noble act started a whole chain of generosity. It's amazing to see how many people would benefit from this. Our next lottery winner is a single mother who got a well-deserved break from the tough times and even decided to help others. Number 5. Marie Holmes, $127 million. Marie Holmes was a 26-year-old single mother of 4 children. Her life changed when she discovered she was one of the lucky people who won the massive $564 million Powerball jackpot. This marked the 4th time that someone from North Carolina took the Powerball jackpot. Marie became a millionaire with a $127 million share, but she promised herself not to get carried away with her newfound wealth. The down-to-earth lady was pictured wearing a cozy beanie when she found out about the news. But when she came forward to claim her prize, she looked quite different from the initial pictures we saw. She was all glammed up in a smart suit and a fresh new hairstyle. She deserved this after the hardships she had faced. Marie's winning story had a modest start. She handed her mother $15 for 5 lottery tickets on her way to church, and later on, she bought 5 more. She had no clue that her life was about to transform. But what plans did the 26-year-old have for her windfall? Well, first of all, she wanted her children to get the best education, so she created college funds for them. Next, she decided to get a better place to live. Marie was a regular at church, and she believed that she only got lucky because her prayers were answered. So she donated 10% of her winnings to the church. The last thing that was on her list was to explore places like Paris. That was one of her dreams. But life came in the way, and she never had the chance to go outside the US. She was humbled and grateful for the opportunities his wealth created for her family, and winning meant a lot for her. One of her kids had cerebral palsy, and she knew the struggles such children face. And that's why Marie contributed some of her money to organizations that take care of children with this neurological disorder. She's an inspiration for all the single mothers out there. But she also faced certain setbacks after winning the lottery, as she was sued by her ex-fiancé and the pastor of the church. Both of them tried to take advantage of her. However, she stayed strong and continued giving out to the needy people. Marie also set up a welfare organization to help the struggling and underprivileged families. No matter what life threw at her, she kept giving to others. Like her, the next lottery winners on our list became multi-millionaires and decided to focus on the important things in life. Number 4. Frances and Patrick Connolly, $140 million. In 2019, Frances and Patrick, a married couple, won 114.9 million British pounds. That's a whopping $140 million. But they didn't rush to splurge their fortune on vacations or supercars. They thought of a more genuine way of celebrating their winnings, and it involved a simple hug and a cup of tea. Simple and sweet. Plus, the couple promised that no matter what happened, they would not become a part of the lavish lifestyle race. It's remarkable how laid back this couple was. And you know what was the first thing they did after that? Well, they made a list of 50 friends and family members they wanted to help with their winning money. We should all take some notes on the generosity from Frances and Patrick. And next, they started 2 foundations to help the most vulnerable people in their community. The couple shared that they found more joy in changing lives than in buying materialistic things. We're guessing they're definitely telling the truth about that, because estimates say they've already given away a mind-blowing $72 million. I think we can all agree that's seriously generous. Our next lottery winner followed in the footsteps of the Connollys and used his fortune to make a significant change in other people's lives. Number 3. Chris Shaw, $258 million. Chris Shaw was a 29-year-old man with 3 children and a modest background. His grandparents had raised him in rural southern Missouri. He worked at the break time convenience store as a clerk, and he barely had $28.96 in his bank account. This meant that the family had some tough times. For them, it was a blessing to be able to pay their gas and electricity bills. So basically, they were just living from paycheck to paycheck. But one day before ending his shift, Chris decided to buy a ticket from the Powerball. and his entire fate changed that day. In 2010, he was the only winner of the massive $258 million Powerball jackpot. One day, he was a normal clerk at a store, and the next day he became a multi-millionaire by buying the ticket at the same store. Chris no longer had to worry about money, but after his mega win, he didn't make any rash or irrational decisions. Yes, even after the huge increase of cash in his originally $28.96 bank balance, he didn't go overboard. Chris did have a few plans, but none of those were close to the overspending we see other lottery winners do. Firstly, he wanted to replace his 2 missing front teeth. Secondly, he planned to take his kids to Disney World in Florida so that they could have quality time. Clearly, he wanted to be sure that those millions would mean his kids would never struggle again. What if you won $350 million today? You would definitely want to relax and make some major changes in your life, right? But the next winner on our list did the exact opposite of that. Number 2. Loren West, $350 million. Meet Loren West, a 51-year-old woman from Redfield, Iowa, who won the $350 million Powerball jackpot. Before winning the lottery, the single mother of 3 children had just bought her first home. She was tired of all the unpacking, so she took a break and went down to Casey's convenience store to get some pizza, and she grabbed a lottery ticket on her way back. Loren didn't realize she had won until her friend told her to check the drawings. She couldn't believe she'd gotten that lucky, and so soon after achieving her goal of buying a house too. Loren used some of her money to start the Callum Foundation, a nonprofit organization. According to the foundation's website, they offer grants to causes like education, animals, people living in poverty, and veterans. And the heartfelt thing about the organization was that it was dedicated to Loren's late grandson. She was heartbroken, as the family had lost him when he was only 1 day old. On The Ellen Show, she introduced the Callum Foundation. She made a generous contribution of $500,000 to the Travis Mill Foundation to help the veterans and their families. Veteran issues are really close to Loren's heart because of her military family. She shared that her dad served in Vietnam and her brothers went into the military as well. It's easy for one kind-hearted winner to be humble about their money. But at number 1, we have a whole group of winners. What did they do with their jackpot? Number 1. Club members from Wolverine FLL Club and Kurt Panousis, $1 billion. A group of 4 people from an Oakland County lottery syndicate hit the jackpot worth a jaw-dropping $1 billion in the Mega Millions game. The Michigan Lottery announced that the winners were a part of the Wolverine FLL Club and Kurt Panousis. This $1.05 billion jackpot was a record breaker in Michigan, and also the 3rd largest in the whole of the US at the time. But how much did the group get after dividing the money? Let's break the numbers down for you. After the tax cut from the $1.05 billion, the 4 club members were left with about $557 million. You know what's the most surprising part of their story? They almost forgot to buy their tickets. They got lucky when they randomly saw the Mega Millions sign and realized that they had not purchased their tickets yet. So they made a quick stop at Kroger. And unexpectedly, this was the draw when they won, and the amount was beyond their wildest imagination. This money was going to make a lasting impact on their families for many generations to come. And they decided not to go overboard with the fortune. Instead, they planned to stay grounded and share their cash through charitable organizations in Michigan. We love how they agreed to share their happiness with others, especially those in need. And interestingly, Kroger, the place where they got the lucky ticket, decided to do the same thing. They contributed their $50,000 commission to the Food Bank Council of Michigan, which will help out needy people. Now, I think we can all agree it's not easy to stick to your old lifestyle after you win a multi-million-dollar jackpot. These lottery winners shattered the misconceptions that life is all about extravagance and lavish living after getting a huge stash of cash. Interested in more lottery stories? Then don't miss out on our video, Oldest Lottery Winners of All Time. These stories tell us that it's never too late to win a good game.